What up, all my fight fans? This past Friday, we had ourselves a boxing fight in Saudi Arabia. We had Anthony Joshua taking on Francis Ngannou. And yeah, this fight did not go down the way it went down with Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury. Pretty much, Anthony Joshua was able to figure out Francis Ngannou, which is not a whole lot to really figure out. We all know Francis Ngannou is a really good MMA fighter, former heavyweight champion of the world in UFC. And this is only his second professional boxing fight. But nonetheless, Anthony Joshua was able to time Francis Ngannou perfect. He was able to time his shots perfect, and he got a second round KO of Francis Ngannou. First ever stoppage of Francis Ngannou's career. At the end of the day, it was still not a really good try for Francis. Francis was going up against a former undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, and he was also going up against a former gold medalist as well. Anthony Joshua is no punk. You definitely do not want to sleep on him. Anthony Joshua still, has all these other bad qualities such as durable chin, and he was able to do what he needed to do against Usyk and such like that. But at the end of the day, he was able to get the job done against Francis Ngannou. You still got to give him props, regardless of the fact that Francis is an MMA fighter and his only second fight ever in boxing. You still, Francis Ngannou is still very, very dangerous. If Francis Ngannou would have connected Anthony Joshua with any really good, solid shot, he would have stopped Anthony Joshua for sure. That goes without saying 100%. So nonetheless, congratulations to Anthony Joshua. But what is next? Well, for Francis, I do believe he still has a contract with the PFL. I believe there was a tournament with the heavyweight championship of the world, Bellator and PFL, and I believe the PFL champion won. So I do believe that Francis Ngannou should go over there and compete a little bit with MMA. It's been a while, with PFL. His last fight was in, I believe, 2001 or 2021 in against Cyril Gane. So it's been quite some time for him to be away from the game, and you definitely do not want to step away from the MMA world that long, because then it develops, it continues on without you, and new skills and new techniques start becoming more dangerous within the MMA world that you are not learning because you're too much into boxing or some other sport. So it's very important that you take on what you're really good at, what your bread and butter is. You definitely want to go all hands on deck when it comes to that stuff. But at the end of the day, I do believe that Francis Ngannou will be back in boxing. I really do. I do believe that Francis Ngannou, as a heavyweight fighter, he will still be very dangerous. I know what Dana White said. Dana White pretty much said that, hey, this is what happens when MMA crosses over to boxing and such like that. But that's not necessarily true. Tyson Fury did train. Tyson Fury said he did connect with Francis Ngannou with some really good shots and such like that in their fight. And, Francis Ngannou was just lasered in. Francis Ngannou was able to hold his own. And maybe Francis Ngannou just had an off night. It happens in the best of fighters. You cannot name another boxer where some of the fighters just had an off night and it just happens. It's the fight game. It could even happen in MMA. Doesn't necessarily mean it could happen because this is crossover. So I don't agree with that 100%. Also, this is heavyweights, and heavyweights can last longer because of the power, and heavyweights are much dangerous, again, because of the power. So I do believe that Francis Ngannou can go toe-to-toe with some of these other heavyweights, like a Deontay Wilder, like a rematch with Tyson Fury, like even a rematch with Anthony Joshua, even though he got knocked out. Again, this is only Francis Ngannou's second fight. So you give him time to learn some technique. You give him time to learn some really good craft and really good skills, even though he will never get caught up with the technique and with the skills of these other professional fighters, because they've been doing it since birth. Francis Ngannou is very dangerous because you cannot teach the power that he has. You cannot. You're born. I strongly believe you are born with that kind of power. And Francis Ngannou has more power than all these other fighters combined. So you give him a little bit more technique. You learn a little bit more defense, learn a little bit more head movement, learn to utilize your jab and your footwork and your movement and such like that. Oh yeah, I do believe Francis Ngannou could actually eventually be a heavyweight champion of the world in boxing. But until then, I do still think he should, finish some business in the MMA world, go over to the PFL, give boxing a little bit of a break, rest yourself a little bit because you did get viciously knocked out. I'm sure he's doing okay, but hey, you know what? He'll be back. As far as Anthony Joshua goes, Anthony Joshua, he's in a stacked division of the heavyweight division. You got still Deontay Wilder out there. You still got Andy Ruiz, the part 3 fight that could potentially happen. And then you still got the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world fight that's taking place, I believe, in May with Tyson Fury in Usyk. And he could potentially face the winner of that fight. I mean, who would not want to see Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua now? We've been wanting to see that for years. That fight's been in the works, and we've been wanting to hear it. There's been always this back and forth, and unfortunately the fight never comes into fruition for some reason and such. But at the end of the day, we definitely want to see it, and hopefully that fight does happen. We don't want to see necessarily him go against Usyk. I mean, unless Anthony Joshua takes on another fighter and looks amazing again, because he's been looking really, really good as of late. But if he looks really, really good in maybe another fight and Usyk just so happens to win, then why not? Why not? But there you have it, guys. Let me know what you think should be next for Anthony Joshua. Let me know what you think should be next for Francis Ngannou. And let me know what you thought of the fight. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.